Welcome back to a new episode of Talking Life. Don't worry, this is not an old video. I know I look the way I looked similar to videos from like 2 years ago, but no, this is a new video, still here in Atlanta, same place. Yeah, this episode's gonna be called Unhealthy Attachments. Let that beep go. It's time to let it go. Gotta let it go. No more beard. Cut the long hair off. I don't even know how long that was. Maybe I'll include a photo or something, but it was definitely down to here. It was very long. You know, being in Knoxville, the last video that you saw, I still had my beard and obviously the hair. But later that day, when I went to set, I had to shave everything except for a mustache. It looked okay. Kind of looked like Mario, Super Mario, without the cool hat. Then the next day, after I wrapped, I just saw the way I looked and I was like, you know, it was cool for the shoot. I love playing around with facial hair for you know, when it comes to filming and stuff. But me personally, I'm just like, don't like it, don't dig it. So I shaved it off. So no beard, but the long hair. And then the next day when I got home, you know, I was still reading the book, The 12 Stages of Healing, and doing a lot of reflecting. I just realized through those days why I still was hanging on to, why I had such an attachment to the long hair. I mean, of course, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to grow out my hair because I was a fan of the Bee Gees. I don't think the hair ever got that long, but still, I always wanted to try it out, you know? And it was cool, great experience, grew it out for 2 years, which I still can't believe, but it was pretty cool. But it was just getting way too long. I remembered all these times where I'm like, you know, maybe it's time I should cut my hair. And then first thing that would pop into my head is, oh no, but what if in a role that I auditioned for where I had the long hair, they call me like next week and they're like, hey, we want to book you, but my hair is short. You know, all that kind of stuff. So it's thinking about the future. You know, the video that I made, The Power of Now, that thought was me living in the future. And my present if my present were not to match up with that future, I would suffer. Something would be taken away from me. You know, and that's not healthy. So, although understandable. So I think about that, kind of backtracking a bit. So my first official speaking role that I ever booked was on the show called Halt and Catch Fire. Was on it for 2 seasons. And by the second season, I believe it was by the second season that I was on, which was season 3, 2 of my castmates booked a role on The Walking Dead, recurring roles. And obviously, you know, I wouldn't have admitted it back then, but I was definitely jealous. I was very happy for them because, genuinely so happy, so pumped. And then eventually it's like, well, I want to get on there too because I started watching the show and I'm like, it's great. It films in Georgia. I would love to be on it. So once the pandemic hit, you know, shut down and everything, grew out my hair, I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm just going to grow out my hair. Then I got new headshots. So I'm like, this is the look. This is the look that's going to finally get me on The Walking Dead. Was it this year? It was this year. I had auditioned once or twice. I think it was once this year. And I had auditioned for it previously and had some close calls. And this year, I had a very close call. Got an email saying that there's a producer link being submitted to producers. So that is a big, that's the step, pretty much the final step before them being like, all right, you know, they're basically choosing between me and maybe 1 other or 2 other people. So this was big. And I'm like, yes, I knew it. I knew I had to grow out my hair for this and that. And it never happened. It never happened. You know, it's tough. It's part of the business, you know. And then I kept growing out the hair. And this, I think, it became a subconscious journey where I wasn't realizing that I kept holding on to that, you know, like, well, maybe, because the way The Walking Dead works is you could audition once or 2 times. But if they really like your audition, they pretty much store your audition in some special folder so that if a new role comes up, they might not even have you audition. They just might be like, hey, we're going to submit your old tape for this new role. That's the way that show works, which is really, really cool. So I thought, maybe, just maybe, you know, just keep growing out the hair. Don't cut it, because the longer it gets, the more you look post-apocalyptic and it fits that world. And then hair and makeup, they can cut as much as you know what I mean? So you see this unhealthy attachment of just ooh. And for this one thing, this one show, out of all these other shows, out of all these other movies, out of these commercials, everything, I was holding on to this one thing. So I forgot who said it, but I think Donnie Epstein, a bunch of people have said it, Tony Robbins, that if you want something, if you want a person in your life, if you want a job, an opportunity, new friends in your life, a new place to live, you need to create a space. You need to create a space for those things, those people to come into your life. It doesn't mean that you're searching for them. It's just you're creating a space, which means you're kind of removing the old, the things that no longer serve you, that those unhealthy attachments, you're letting them go, so you create space for new things to come up. So who knows? Maybe I didn't book things in the last year and a half or so because I had this unhealthy attachment, and I was sending that frequency out there in the universe. And the universe is just like, okay, cool, you're not open for new stuff, so until you're ready, nothing's gonna come. But anyway, the point is about these unhealthy attachments. When we have these unhealthy attachments to people, for instance, you might be thinking about an ex of yours because, right now it's the holiday season, and you might be dating people, but none of them really kind of do it for you, there's chemistry for sure, but there isn't that, that thing. So you start going back into your past. You're like, well, maybe that wasn't too bad. And then you're thinking about reaching out to her, to him. And when you hold out for somebody who's not available right now, you put that out there in the universe. You put off that vibe. And sometimes it'll work in your favor. What is that? You're unintentionally playing hard to get. So when you are not putting your interest onto other people, now these people might be like, well, why isn't he interested? Why isn't he, trying to talk to me or something like that? But anyway, the point is that when you put so much focus and energy and power behind this job that never called you back, that you really want, and then meanwhile all these other places are calling you up, offering you jobs, and you're like, no, I'm holding out for this one. I'm holding out for this one. I just gotta hold on. And then a month, 2 months go by, that place hasn't called you, and meanwhile the bills are stacking up, and you're not getting any more calls from the other companies. It's like, things like that happen. I'm sure it's happened to you. It's definitely happened to me as well. Anyway, thanks for listening about that. I've said anyway so many times that, next time I say anyway, I don't know, I'll put, I need to chug this, okay? Ow. So, where do you think you're holding some unhealthy attachments? Is it to somebody? Is it to some, hope for the future of a certain job? What is it? Because the sooner you realize these things, the sooner you can let it go and you can breathe. It's weird, when I was getting my hair cut. Oh, so that was the point of the whole thing. So, wow. So, this past Friday, coming home from Knoxville, I always told myself in the last few months, I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'll cut my hair I just want to book at least one role where I use the long hair, and then that's it. So even though in the final cut or something of this show, my hair isn't down, but it's in a ponytail, so it's still long, so it counts. I'm like, you know what? You gotta let that shit go. Gabriel, you gotta let that shit go. It's when I realized that's at least one thing, because when you realize there's one thing you can let go, you can throw out, you can donate, whatever that is, then it gets easier. You're like, well, I don't need that anymore. I don't need that thought anymore. I don't need that belief system anymore. I don't need that value anymore. You feel lighter. So as I was getting my hair cut, and the guy was cutting from the behind first, it's weird. It's like I didn't feel like this pulling, which obviously, weight from the hair pulling, especially in a ponytail pulling, but I felt like there was less pressure on my neck, and it felt really good. So, and who knows, maybe that's where I was storing, because that's what we do. We store energy in different parts of our body if we don't express, and we constantly hold on, you know what I mean? So I was able to let that shit go. And who knows what's going to happen now? I was invited to a party this upcoming weekend, and I was looking forward to it. I went to the same party the last 2 years, and such great memories, because in the last 2 years, around that time, around Christmas time, I was doing like 60-day sober challenges, and to hang out with really good people, sober, and still being able to have a great time. It was a mind shift. It was a paradigm shift. It was really great. But this year, some things with requirements for the party, it just didn't sit well with me. And now with the things that I've been letting go of, and like setting healthy boundaries and not willing to tolerate things that no longer benefit me or my life or match my belief systems. It's not even sad. It's sad in the terms of like that it's gotten to this point, but I'm not like, obviously crying about it or like complaining about it. It's just, it is what it is. And then when you make that statement to a person, whatever it is or whoever it is, it's like, thank you so much, but I won't be coming this year, or I can't do this anymore. That's taking your power back, and that's letting things go. It's letting go of the fear, like, I don't know what they're going to think. What will they think of me of not going? They're probably going to be talking about me. I'm sure they will, but that's okay. That's okay. Hey, any press is good press, right? So, anyway, I'm sure... I got to chug this now. Not going to do that. Whatever. Comment below. Put like hashtag anyway to the power of 10, something like that. These examples are hopefully, are here to, hopefully so you can relate to them, and then it helps you in your own life and whatever's happening in your life, because hey, we're all connected. We all pretty much are having similar experiences, and I'm sure some people would like to comment on that in a negative way, but the thing is, the situation is a circumstance. Yeah, we can all have different circumstances, and one person might not experience that same circumstance, but the thoughts and the feelings that come from that circumstance, from that experience, we've all experienced that. So I hope this helps you, and if you'd like to like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, because this channel, even though it currently hasn't done as well as my other channels like Starving Actor Food Reviews, this is going to be around forever. And whether it's in 100 years, 300 years, wow. I know it's going to help somebody. And even if it's just one person, or even if it's just me by just speaking, I've done my job. I've done, it's about service. So if you got any, which I'm sure you do, because we all do, if you have any unhealthy attachments that you're still holding on to because they're part of your collection, they're kind of like your safety blanket, your misery likes company kind of a thing, or just something familiar. When you're ready, realize what they are, realize what it's doing, realize what it could do, and just let that shit go.